Hello everybody. Join me today as we talk about how to crochet. Hello, this is Deb from Just Do Something Homestead, and today we're going to be talking about crocheting. Now, I have been crocheting for over 50 years. My mom taught me when I was just a young girl. I did it all through 4-H. I became a 4-H leader, taught crocheting there. And at this point, this is actually one of the patterns that I created myself. It started as Jacob's Ladder, but I have changed it and made it to fit what I was hoping for. And as a teacher, I was making a blanket for every student that I had every year. So it was pretty busy, but it was very, very fulfilling. I planned for this video to be a first in a series of videos on crocheting. And because of that, we're going to focus today on making a chain and on single crochet. And I'm going to put it right at the very beginning of this video. That way, if you need to slow down, you can just go to the beginning. After showing you those steps and you are practicing, we're going to go over what is on a label and what hook should you choose for a project. How can you make it stand out, and what colors do you pick? So that will be following after I show you how to crochet. To get started on crocheting, you really only need 3 things. You need some yarn, you need a crochet hook. This one that I almost always use is a size J or a 10. And I prefer the metal ones. They seem to work much better for me than the plastic ones. And the last thing, you need a very good pair of scissors that will cut the yarn. I like to crochet every single evening so that when we have worked hard all day, I can come in, I can sit down, and I can crochet. We are first going to get started by figuring out how to pull the yarn out of the skein. Now, it's sort of like opening a feed bag. They show you how to do it, but when you pull on the string they show you, it just turns into a tangled mess. So what they're telling you, this is red heart, so they're telling you have the heart facing upright. So I'm going to move this back, and here is my yarn. So they're saying hold it this way and then turn it and pull this end out. Okay, so I'm going to wrap that around. That's not the end I'm going to use. That's the end that's in part of the skein. And then turn it to the B side and pull on this one. And this is the side that you're going to pull. So you're always pulling from the center of the skein. Sounds good in theory, but sometimes it's just a big old hot mess. Most crochet projects start with a chain, and you don't want to make a knot. That's a lot of people they just put a knot in and put a loop, and that's not the best way to do it. So what I do is I wrap it around my 2 fingers. So I'm going to hold it here and wrap it around my fingers like that. Then I'm going to take my crochet hook, stick it under the first one and over the second one, and pull it up, and that's going to make a slip knot, and you can adjust it just like that. I almost always use a J hook or a number 10. They often suggest that you use a smaller one, but for me, I like the larger one. I just feel like I have a little more control. Now, holding the crochet hook is as different as there are different people. Some people hold it like a pencil, and they're doing it this way. I have not been able to crochet like that. I hold it over, and this flat spot that's in the center of the hook, that's where my thumb goes. So I'm going to hold it over. Now, you have the piece of yarn that's hanging down, and you have the one that's coming from the skein. I wrap that around the index finger of my left hand. Let me move this back a little. Now, I am right-handed, so I'm going to put my thumb on the flat part of the hook, wrap my hand around it. Now, you don't want to hold so tight onto that. You just barely want to be holding on it. And then this hand, with my third and my thumb, I hold what I'm working on, And this is actually to do the tension that is coming out of the skein. So the very first thing you always do when crocheting is to learn how to do a chain. Whether your project requires one, it's still a good place to start is a chain. And a chain, I just reach under and pull through. Reach under and pull through. Now, I'm not going to be able to continue holding that original spot that I had. So I'm going to move my hand up closer as I go. So reach under, pull through. Now, you may make a loop that's way too big and pull through. And let me show you what happens. And then you have another one. All right, we're getting all different sizes. That is a very important step when you're doing crocheting. You want them to be similar, the same size. So if you make a mistake, you just pull on that end. Now that's wonderful unless your cat gets caught in it and they run off, and then you're starting all over again. So let me put the hook in there, hold it by there, wrap it around, and I'm ready to do another chain. All right, so I'm going to count as I do a chain. Each one is a 1 count. So 1, 2, move my hand up, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so that is 10 chains. Now, if I was to want to use, let's say 10, I'm going to put an extra one on now so I can turn. So I have 11. That'll make more sense. So 11, and now I am going to show you how to do single crochet. Single crochet is also one of the beginning things that you learn. And I think the hardest part is knowing where to put the hook. So let me pull it closer. You don't want to put it in this very first loop. You need that loop on there. It's going to fall apart. So second loop that's sticking up. There we go. You're going to stick it in there. Now, I don't have my yarn on there. All right, stick it in. Now I'm going to grab that yarn and hold it there. And they call that yarn over, and pull it through both of them. All right, let me show you. Now this is the stitch we just used. So you don't want to use that stitch again. You want to go to the next one. So in it goes, yarn over, that's called a slip stitch, and pull it through both. And that is a single crochet. So that is 2 stitches. And this is a new skein, so it's a little harder to pull out. It's a tighter skein. All right, so I am going to keep going across, finding that loop, going through, slip stitch, single crochet. Stick it in, and single crochet. Now, so far I have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. So 5, 6, 'It doesn't go in, just wiggle it around. 7, 8, 9, and the last one, 10. All right, pull some more yarn out. All right, that is 1 row of single crochet. Now I am going to chain 1. Remember, chain is just bringing it through. Chain 1 and turn. So we went this direction. Now we need to turn it the other direction. And so we are looking at the back of our project. This, I think the best thing you can do is turn it towards you, and you will see 2 stitches. It's in the shape of a V going the whole way across. And I purposely hold it so I can see the top of my work. Now I'm going to go back across doing another row. This is where there are so many variables. You could do front loop only. You could do back loop only. I'm going to show you using both loops. So you can see both of those are right there. So just like that. Now remember we have 10 stitches. So we're going to stick it through, yarn over, and pull through both. So that's one. Remember, get both of them. 2. Now you notice how my left finger moves with the stitches, changing the tension as needed. You want an even tension. 3, 4, keep on going. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the last one, 10. Chain 1 and turn. And look at that, you're starting to create your project. All right, I am going to, well, let me show you the first one. You're going to go right in the very first one. Some people don't. Some people skip that one. I do not. 1, 2. As you continue to do this, you will find that it goes faster and faster. This is where I turn it a little, look at the top. Pull out some more yarn. Keep going across. After a while, you don't have to count. You can tell by looking if you have enough stitches. So I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 stitches. All right, I am going to chain 1 and turn. All right, I am going to continue going back and forth doing more rows, and I will be right back with you. All right, friends, what you're looking for, I have added several more rows. You want to have a straight line on both sides. Now, if it's like this and it's a little bit tighter, that's all right. That meant my chain was a little too tight. So those are all things that you can loosen as you go along. Let me bring it a little bit closer. You should have even stitches that go across. Now, this is single crochet. It is using front and back loops. And so this is a great way to start. What I want you to do, just keep practicing. Make chains, do single crochet. And the next time I'm going to show you how to do double crochet. Then I'm going to show you how to add colors and different stitches. And finally, how to make something. Now you can use this stitch and make pot holders. That's the first thing that I always taught my 4-Hers to do, is make it bigger than this. You're not going to want a 2-inch pot holder, but make it bigger. Use it as a pot holder. Make a scarf. Scarves can be tricky because, as I said, you want to have a complete straight line, and often that is one of the difficulties that a new crocheter will face, is that they added one too many or they took one away. To remedy that, always count your stitches. That will help you keep it the same amount of stitches. Then it's just a matter of making those stitches the same size. How do you choose the type of yarn that you want for your project? You can get them in so many different colors. There's different weights, there's different thicknesses, there's different lot numbers. How can you find the information you need? What you're going to do is turn to the back of the label. Now on the front, it says it's 7 ounces. That is simply how heavy is the skein that I am holding. How heavy is it? This skein is 7 ounces. Then the next bit of information I like is 364 yards. When you start pricing them, you'll find some that are 364 yards and some that are 600 yards or 200 yards. So it helps you when you're trying to figure out price per yard. Now if we turn it to the back, this is where you start to find important information. The color is listed first. This one says it's white. And right here, it says no dye lot. What does that mean? That means that if you buy white red heart yarn in West Virginia and you need more when you're on vacation in Vermont, you can go to the store and it will match. That is very crucial. In the past, you had to get all the same dye lot. So if you were making a large blanket, you might have to buy 20 of the skeins at the same time with the same number. Here is an example of yarn that does have a dye lot. On this one, if you look, it says the lot number is 4142. And so at the same time, I bought another one that was 4142, so we're good. But then I went back to get some more and I didn't look at the lot number. This one is 2086. If I look closely, I can see a slight difference between these two. Now, depending what your project is, it may not matter, but if you're putting a lot of this color back to back, you're going to see that this one was different. The next thing that you see on our skein of yarn says medium 4. That is talking about the thickness of the yarn. I usually use number 4. It is just an average. It is not thick. It is not thin. It is medium. But once in a while, I will come across one that's a 3, and this one says light. Those are typically ones that you're going to find for babies, and that's what this one says, softy baby. So this one's a little bit thinner and a little softer, but it's not always the case. This one here looks like it may be thinner, but when you turn it, let's see, there it is medium. So it's still a 4. If I get a very thin one and I'm crocheting something that is thick, I will often take 2 thin ones and crochet 2 of them at the same time. It also helps if I think this color is a little too powerful. If I put this with it and crochet at the same time, it's going to soften it. So there is light, there's medium, there's heavy, there's all different sizes of yarn. That second box shows 4" by 4" and it says that US I-912SC. And if you are new to crocheting, you'll say, what in the world is that? That is to gauge the size for patterns. So they are recommending that you use an I or a 9 hook. And what I've done, these are some of the common hooks here. Crochet hooks start at A, where they are very small, and they get larger as you go through the alphabet. Now, the smallest one that I have here is an F, which is 5, and each one gets bigger. So we have F, the next one is G, H, I, and the last one is J. J is the one that I usually use. They do make them larger than J, but I find that one is a good size for me. So going back to this chart, when it says 4" by 4", 12 SC is when you do 12 single crochet hook stitches, you should have a 4" length. So 4 by 4 is 12 single crochet. And they put that on there so that if you are doing 12 stitches single crochet and it's 5 inches, then you know yours is very, very tight. Or if you want to follow a pattern and you're not making it big enough, then you could switch to a larger hook to make it a little bit bigger and a little looser. So that is just a gauge to help you if you are doing patterns. The next one is for knitting needles. We are talking crocheting. And then the last one is just the care. You don't want to iron this. And it's giving you care. It also says 100% acrylic, machine wash and dry. So they give you everything you need to know on the label. I think one of the hardest decisions with crocheting is choosing your colors. In the past, when I would start crocheting, I often use a multicolored one like this, and I would make the entire blanket or hat or whatever I was making out of one skein, out of this color, without adding any different colors to it. And I discovered that it was kind of boring. You know, there was so much more you could have put with it. So if I had alternated perhaps this one with a bright yellow or a blue, it's going to pop far more than if I just used one color. An example of this was a little blanket that I started, and I actually put a bold color. I put black in between the other colors, and this makes this blanket pop. When I made these for students, these were the first ones to go. I would go, and next I would have a dark green, and then I might add oranges or yellows. I would start with one that was light and one that was dark and put in some rows of black. And that is one way to really make what you're crocheting stand out. All right, friends, it's about time for my evening crocheting. And I just want to thank you for joining us. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe, like, and share. And thank you so much for joining us here. Remember, you can't do everything, but just do something. Bye-bye.